Okay, we'll do the in the Hosofos on Torah Ohr. In the Hosofos Torah Ohr, we'll do the Megilas Esther Hosofos, and this is the fourth Maamar in the Hosofos on Torah Ohr. Al Kain Korul Yom Ha'elu Purim. So the pasuk says that they called Al Kain Korul Yom Ha'elu Purim. They called it Purim Hashem HaPur Hu HaGoyrel Chulu, because of the Pur, which is the lottery, etc. So Hine Yesh Lehavin. So the we have to understand. Why do we call this name based on the lottery that Haman made? We're calling it Purim because he made a lottery. What? But that wasn't the main miracle. The main miracle through Esther, the whole story in the Megillah, this was just the lottery that he threw to figure out what would be the day that would be successful to get rid of the Jews. Further, we also have to understand what's the idea of this girdle that Haman made. Okay. The pasuk says that Amalek is the first of the nations. Basically, we have the nations represent, the seven nations represent the seven midos, seven bad midos. Those are the seven nations. And that's why we have to conquer them. We have to chase them out of the seven nations from Eretz Yisrael. We have to conquer the midas in the person. But Amalek is the Reish is going Amalek. He is sort of the first. The top is Amalek. God made one opposite the other. Basically, that the Klippa is opposite of the Kedusha. And from the Kedusha, the nurturing of the Klippa, because they have the same levels, but in Klippa. From the Kedusha extends a root for the seven nations of the Eved Kechavim. Sheheim Bechinas Zayin Haporis Rois. Those are represented in the dream of Pare. You had the seven bad cows. You had the seven good ones, the seven bad ones. The seven bad ones, those are the klippas. Shenikroim Zayim Midis Rois. They are called the seven bad characteristics. Haknani, Achiti, Amiri. All the different nations representing the different midas. Ach klippas Amalek, but the klippas Amalek is not part of the seven. Nikra Reish is going. That's called the head of the nations. That's on top. Because the root of Amalek is higher than the emotions, which is the root for the Midas Rois, but that's higher than Midas. Ukumeshi is born, I'll be explained. Achine, Tzorich lahagdim tchila mashekosu b'Zechariah Siman Hey. You have to introduce the pasuk in Zechariah in Perik Hey. So over there it says, "V'omer ani roya," and I said, Hashem says, "What do you see?" So Zechariah responds. He says, "What I see is a Megillah Ofa Orka Esrim Ba'amachulu, a Ofa Megillah," as he's going to explain. A Megillah Ofa means that is written on both sides. You can read from both sides. That's called the Megillah from the Gemara, which is 20 Amah long. So our sages of blessed memory, the second chapter of Erevin say, Shikasuva Ponim V'achar. That Ofa means that it's written in the front and in the back. As it says over there in Yecheskel, in Perik Beis, it says, Megilas Sefer Chulu v'Iksuva Ponim V'achar. So basically, V'hainu Shezeh Nemar Al HaTorah Shenikra Gamke Megillah. This is also said about the Torah. This is said about the Torah, which is called also a Megillah. We refer to it as Megillah, but v'Iksuva Ponim V'achar. It's written in the face and in the back, which means Bechinas Penimis V'Achoraim, in an inner and a backward way. It's going to explain this. To understand this. Understand what is the idea of the Penimis And what's the idea of the Achoraim? The pasuk says, Chochmas Odom Toir Ponim. So here we're talking about the Ponim. The wisdom of a person will illuminate his face, will make his face shine. We talk about a human being. We're talking about very literally, would be that his face would shine when he gets a wisdom, when he gets an idea, so he gets excited about it. But in the Medrash, it teaches it about the Eibishter, the Odom Ha'elyon. Amr Razal and our sages tell us that the Medrash Rabbasham, on the Medrash Rabbah over there, they teach that what does it mean, the Medrash Rabbasham? The Pirush Odom, what does it mean, the Chochmas Odom, is Odom Hanemashakosu Valdemus Akise, the Mus Kimara Odom, Olav Milmailachulu. On the kisei, there was an image of a person milmailo on above, on top of the kisei. So basically, there is a level of odom lemailo. There's a level of odom on the kisei, and we're saying that the chochmas of odom is toir ponim. What does it mean on odom ala kisei? But yesh lahovinzeh. We need to understand this. What does it mean odom over there? How can you say yum haloi? Hashem has no body, he has no image of a body. Why are we calling him Odom? And there's also a pasuk, the pasuk says Kiloi Odom hu lihi nacham, that he's not an Odom lihi nacham. So we say beferish in the pasuk that he's not Odom. How could you call him Odom? Odom is already a level of his galus, as he's going to explain. The idea is, so the Medrash says over there, in the beginning of the Parsha Bereshis, that Shiva Dvarim Kodmu Le'olam, there were 7 things that preceded, that came before the world was, and he says over there, Torah, Tshuva, many things there, Torah, Tshuva, Obinya Beis Hamikdash Chulu, the building of Beis Hamikdash, Umachshavtom Shel Yisrael Kodmo L'chol. That before everything comes the thought about Yidden. Yidden are the very first, Iksiv, because the pasuk says, Bereishis Bara, that because of the 2 Reishis Hashem created before He created Bishul Yisrael. So that means that the Yisrael were there already. That was the very first thing before he created anything. So we see that the thought about Yidden, the concept of Yidden, that was before everything. That's the very first thing. And this is also Gamke Maimer Razal, Yisrael Allah b'machshava, that Yisrael came up in the thought, Pirush Allah shekodmoi v'olu b'tchilas hamachshava. What does it mean? He went up within the thought of Hashem. The Medrash says there's something more practical, something was in thought, but Allah b'machshava means within the level of machshava. The Yidden were also on the higher level of machshava, which means they are priority. The Yidden, they were first. As we said before in the Medrash, the machshavtum shel Yisrael, that the thought about Yidden come before everything. So we see that the Yidden, that's the level of the Yidden. To explain this idea, Hine, be'emes liyois ki ein sof baruch hu rom v'nizgov be'erech v'kol hishtalshlus d'abiyake yidua. It is, the fact is, that the infinite, the Ein Sof, the endless, blessed be He, is exalted and He's raised relative than all of the Ishtalshlus. Atzilus Bri Yitzirek Chidua. The Ein Aroich, Ein Love, Ein Aroich Klal, the Ein Arkidua, the Ein Aroich Klalu Klal Loi. There is no comparison at all to Hashem. V'kol Kamei K'lo Mamash Chshiv Chulu. And everything before Hashem is considered like nothing, etc. In Cain, lehoya oir v'shefa nishpa v'nigla Me'ein sof l'mata klal. So therefore, there would be no light and no flow that would flow and be revealed from the Ein Sof to below at all. Rak al yidei sheYisrael olu b'machshava tchila lakoil kinal. It's only through the fact that the Yid went up in the machshava first for everything. Yorad v'nislabesh liyois b'bchinas odom. So then he, because of this thought, he went down and dressed up in the level of Odom. Level of Odom means Hashem's thought for Odom. That's the place of the machshava where there is to be a person. That was the first thought. When the Ein Sof dresses up in the root of the Neshamas Yisrael above, where we're rooted, that's where there's Adam. That's already where there's the human beings. That's where the machshava is to create the human beings. So now we have determined what is the level of Adam. We say Chochmas Adam. What is Adam? Adam is the source of the Neshamas Yisrael. Adam is the machshava of all of the machshava, where the Yidden machshava is. B'chinas Adam zeh Amar. So about this Adam, it says, Chochmas Adam toir panav chulu. The Chochma of Adam, Pirush Chochmas Adam, hainu b'chinas Chochmas ha-Torah. Shekodma gam ki lo'olam. We're talking about the wisdom of Torah. That the Chochma of the Adam ha'elim at that level, which is the Chochma of Torah, which is also before world, v'nikras, and that is called b'chinas sha'ashuim. That's a play, sort of a delightful, something that brings delight. The pasuk says, "V'eya etzle sha'ashuim chulu uksiv misachekes lefonu b'choleis." The pasuk says there that I was. That's the Torah saying. I was by Hashem. Omen shashuim. I was a delightful, playful, and misachekes lefonu b'choleis. So the Chochma is the Torah. The Torah of the Adam brings about Toir Panav. Say by example, Adam Atacht and Lamato, when we have a person over the low person below. Adam Atacht versus Adam Elyon, we're talking about is Lamaila from the creation, beyond creation. That's the Adam Elyon, Alakise. But here we're talking about the Adam Atacht, giving the example. But Adam Atacht Lamato, Kishamamtzi u'mechadesh b'sichloi eize svara v'seichel chodesh. When he comes up and he has a new idea, a new seichel, a new svara, a new idea, and a new mind, a new intellectual, the chodesh sovu ponov. His face shines up, lights up. V'ya'iru ba'oros ponov. They will shine with the shine of the face. Why? Because the person is very enjoying it a lot from this idea that he came up. And his face will shine because of the light. Like it was said about Rabbi, that his face lit up because he found it new. So it shines. So you see, when something comes, a new idea that brings a shine to the face. You've on the maskil, so we'll understand. This will be understood to the one who understands in the level of Chochmah. That the Ein Sof is Chakim, which means he has the level of Chochmah, but not with the known Chochmah, not with the Chochmah that we know today. So the Chochmah Satoiro Shechidesh Oiso, That the wisdom of the Torah, which he comes up, he is very delighted in and he plays with it a lot, which means till above there is a shine of the ponim of the Adam through this renewal of the Chochmah Torah. V'zeu Chochmos Adam ha'elyon. And this is what we're talking about, the Chochmah of the Supreme. About which one it says, Al Demus Hakisei Demus K'mar Adam. We're talking about the Adam of above, who is Demus Hakisei K'mar Adam. We're saying Toir Ponov Meroiv Oineg V'Shashuyim Shemishtashea B'Chochmah Shebetorah. That is the light, the face, so to speak, of this Adam Ha'elyon, who Hakisei is shining. It lights up from the great delight and the great enjoyment in which he plays, and he is enjoying the wisdom of the Torah. What does this mean? In every parsha in the Torah, there is a supreme light of wisdom, and a wondrous. Every parsha, even though to us it seems very physical and action is slavish, below it has been dressed up in a physical. So we are missing out. We don't realize there is a tremendous wisdom. But in truth of the matter is, every parsha has a tremendous wisdom in it, a supreme light of Chochmah, a wondrous light of Chochmah in every. Come on, you take, for example, Parshas Choshev Ve'efed. So you learn the portion of the breastplate and the apron, which is made of various stone. It's made Eidam, Pita, Barechulu, Kayetze. We learn what it was made of. Seems like very Gashmizik stones. A stone called Eidam, a stone called Pita, a stone called Bareches. Shebavada yesh b'zel l'maylo chokhmah niflo shu yizbarach mishtasheh b'ma'id. For sure, above there is a wondrous wisdom which Hashem is very delighted with it. Ukvar kodmu la'oid lom hanetzal v'anivra. That was already before anything was separated from Hashem, was created from Atzilus and the Nivra Bria. Everything beforehand, that was this idea. That idea, which later dressed up in the Gashmis, was there before. Ukidiksiv, as the pasuk says, I was by Hashem, as he quoted the pasuk before. I was by Hashem a delight. That it played before him at every time. Pirush. What does it mean then? This wisdom makes before Hashem a very great laughter and a great play and a great delight. Like we say, she called him Yitzchak because it says Hashem has made a tzchok, a laughter for me, everybody who's going to be rejoicing with me. I love it. So, what happens is when this level of Torah comes to the Adam Ha'elyon, it brings about this great level of joy, a great level of joy. What happens in so to speak, the Adam becomes on a level of Oros Ponim. So what does it do? It comes down below. This shine of the Ponim doesn't remain just above by the Adam Ha'elyon. That also comes down below. That's what we're saying. Yoir Hashem, Ponov Elecha. Hashem should illuminate His face to you, that level of Ohr Hosofos. Pirush. Bechinas ha'oras ponim ha'elyonim. We're talking about Hashem should shine His face, meaning the shine of this ponim ha'elyonim. Shenemar al zeh chochmos odom tor ponim kanal. Of this it says that He will shine His face. So this one, yoir oisoi ha'oir gam elecha davke. So that will be to you that shine. But yoir hashaponim elecha v'loy le'evdei gilulim, but not to the evdei gilulim. Moshe, like Moshe says, "V'niflinu ani v'amecha." That me and your people be distinguished, which means they will be special with that. Zeu pirush ma'ashekosu misachekes b'tevel artzei. That she plays for, and the laughter brings down in the world, which means in the beginning it starts off that it is a play in the level of Odom. And then it goes down into the world, it's into the world. In the beginning, the Mesachekes is only before Hashem in the higher level. That His face, which is the Odom Elyon. This the light descends also below. It also brings the level of sechoik, the level of joy, also in the world. So that supreme delight of the wisdom of Torah, which is experienced by above, by the Chochmos Odom, that should extend also to Bnei Odom Lamata, that it should extend to the people below. Be delighting the human beings, so they too should be getting from that level of a shashui. Like, for example, we have the parables of Shlomo. The pasuk says, you see the moshels are the way to bring down the seichel that's higher to the lower level for each moshel that you give, each example brings it down. Here we're talking about bringing down the level of the chokhmah, the wisdom of the Torah to the Yid, and it goes through this process. What does it say by Mishle Shloim? It says, "Vayidaber k'mashikosu, vayidaber shloishes alofim moshel." That he spoke 3,000 parables. He spoke. What does it mean? In order to get down to people to understand Shlomo, he needed to descend it 3,000 times. Pirush. In order to get that this supreme light that is in the wisdom of Torah, that it should come from above to below, so he needed specifically 3,000 moshel. Because when we have a wisdom which is in the higher world, when it needs to come down to a lower world, we can't bring it down unless you bring it down in a moshel. And then when it goes down, when this light of the flow comes down to a lower level of it, then you need a moshel for the first moshel. And through and on this path, it descends and goes the light from one moshel to the next moshel, until you get 3,000 moshel. Because there, and why is this so much moshels? Why didn't Loitzim Rememus Milas Shadish Chochmas Atoira the Milo Bechinas Chochmas Odomanal? That is because there's such a tremendous elevation and exaltness. The level that we talk about, the root of the Chochmas Atoira is so high in the level of Chochmas Odom that to bring it down, you need 3,000 steps to bring it down from the Chochmas Odom. To the extent that it has to come to reveal, it comes to 3,000 moshel. So gam ki pirush halichos olam loy. So this is a pasuk in Habakkuk. It says halichos olam loy, to bring down into the world. Hashem halichos, the going. So the sages of blessed memory, they say at the end of the Gemara Nida, Atikli halichos ela halachos. Don't call it halichos, but halachos. That means that the coming down is through the halachos. Pirush halichos. What does it mean, halichos? That is b'chinas hamshocha v'heilocha. It says halichos olam loy. That is talking about a level of hamshocha v'heilocha meb'chinas chochmas haTorah shel ma'ila, from the level of chochma of Torah of above. Lovely they gilu lamata binyonim gashmi, that it should come revealed below in the physical matter. Who can now be inyan shloishim alof moshel, as we said about the 3,000 moshel, to bring it down from above to below. L'chach nikra b'shem halacha, and that's why we call it halacha, because it came down. Although that's called halacha, it's a way. It went down from above. Halichos keli chulu. Supposed to continue him. Dynamite. So gam kein pirush asher kiddushonu b'mitzvayso. Means asher kiddushonu. Pirush asher. What does it mean, asher? It's also when we say that we're bringing down the level from above to below. What is asher? Is loshen oinek. Asher is the language of the light. K'moi, as we find in the pasuk, ba'oshri. She called the Vatikra Shmoi Osher. K'moi ba'oshri. Oshri means I'm lucky. My luck, that my delight. Who? That's but she had all these children. Vatikra Shmoi Osher. She had all these children. Leah. So she called him Osher. Who b'chinas tainu ga'elyon. This is the supreme delight. Shekedishonu. That Hashem sanctified us with the level of Rotzin and the supreme delight, which is dressed up in the mitzvahs. V'hainu inyan simcha shel mitzvahs, and this is the level, the idea of a simcha of mitzvah. Yediksiv, as the pasuk says, Tachas asher lo yavadeto b'simcha uvetuv levov merev kol. We know that there needs to be a level of simcha. That's the level of simcha when the pasuk says that you did not serve Hashem b'simcha, which is more than koil. What is it? Rev koil is hainu koil, rev koil. What is the meaning of rev koil? That's hainu chayil mabo. That would be the life of the world to come, where there's a lot of delight. Shenikra rev koil. Over there it's called a lot. Why? Because the neshamas Yisrael, sheshama neshamas nenim is yivashchina. Over there the neshamas are the light of yivashchina. But this is a level of delight, the simcha shel mitzvah, which is even higher. That's the level of Oshri. That's the level of Asher. Hine ksiv. So Emerson, you're going to see now that why is that taka lower? Why do we say that the level of Olam Haba is a lower level than the level of Tainug, which is in the mitzvahs? Is because the pasuk says, "V'nor yoytze me'eden lahashkes esagon." So it says that the river goes out from Eden to water the Gan. The Gan is the Gan of Eden. So Eden is the source. So from Eden, there's a river that goes to water the Gan. So that means the delight from Eden, it goes down to the Gan. Haragan lamata min ha'Eden. So that means that the garden is below Eden because Eden waters it. Kibe Eden kisiv ayin le'rosachu. Over there, the pasuk says that ayin le'rosa kiv zulasecha. There it says that there is Yaselim Chakeloi, the pasuk Yeshaya, that the Nevi'im, they all had a concept, but not in the level of Eden. Because when we talk about the level of Oneg Elyon, which dresses up in the Chochmah law, the Chochmas Adam, Torah Ponov, Nikra Eden. That's called the Eden itself. That's the level of Shashuim that we talked about before. That is the source of the Tanugim. Shemisangin HaNeshomes, that the Neshomes delight. That's the source. So over there is the source, and it comes down to the Tanug HaNeshomes. Ubchinas Hamshocha, and the level of the Hamshocha Me'eden Zeh, and the Hamshocha that comes from this level of Eden is Nikra Nohar. That's the Nohar Yotzei Me'eden. That is the Nohar that goes to Nohar. Zeu shekosu v'Nohar Yotzei Me'eden lahashkos esagan. It goes out to water the Gan Eden. The Gan is the Gans during the Iraisa. The 53 orders, that's the Sedrus of the Chumash, of the Torah, that's the Gan. Bahainu, and that is Mashan, Shomes Nenim Eir Viziv. That is what the Neshomes are enjoying from this ray and this light in Gan Eden. That everybody, according to their measure, in Gan Eden, that's the light of the Torah that they're enjoying. After the person is cleaned off, and in the pains of Gehenim to clean him off, then he delights everybody according to their level from this delight that is nimshach from the Eden into the Nun Gimel Sdorim De'Rais. So therefore, this is all in the level of Gan Eden. Kain, Mashahodom, Esther, B'Torah, Mitzvahs, B'Olam Hazeh. So the fact that when a person occupies himself and he studies Torah and mitzvahs in this world, Sheshor Sham B'Chinas Eden Atzmei, which is rooted in Eden itself, not through the Hamshacha, which goes from the Nohar into the Gan, but from Eden itself. Gavoya Harbe Mikol Chaya Olam Haba. This is much higher than all the life of Olam Haba. She'einei Elo B'china Ziva Ora Ba'alma Megan Shebe'Eden Kinal. That is only a shine and a ray from the Gan in the Eden. But over there, you got the Eden itself, you got the Torah itself, the Shashuim itself. And this is what the pasuk is saying. Because you did not serve Hashem. There's a simcha shel mitzvah in this world, which is yoyser merev koil, which is more than the Rav Koil. So therefore, Shuhu Chayil Mabo, that's the life to come, and you didn't do Shuhu Chayil Mabo. And that's why, so here you see that this world, the Simcha, and the opportunities are much greater than even the Olam Haba. And that's why our sages of blessed memory said, the Yofesh Achas B'tshuva Maisim Tovim B'Olam Hazeh B'Kol Chaya Olam Haba, that it's better 1 hour of Tshuva Maisim Tovim in this world than all the life of the world to come. B'Dailim maybe. Hinei Af Misha Einei Tzadik, even somebody who's not a tzaddik, still Yuchal Yisaneg Be'eden Hamlubash B'Chochma Shebetoira Hanal. You still can delight in that special Eden which is in the wisdom of Torah. K'may Shekosu Hayoim. The Torah says that you should do Ashenochim Etzavecho Hayoim. Razal, the Razal tell us, I'm saying blessed memory tell us, Hayoim la soisom. Today you got to do. So the main thing is, it's not so much in action. It's just to do. If you do, you get the Eden. So as far as action, everybody can do. Megilas, somebody can say he can't learn, he's not at that level, but Maisa, everybody can do it. It says Ashiyem la soisom, and therefore everybody has the opportunity to be receiving that level of Eden, the level of Chochmas Adam. This is like the Kitzer. V'toichen hadavar. What is the toich of the matter we spoke about before? Shekedei lehovin inyan purim al pi al shem hapur. In order to understand the idea, why is the Purim called for the lottery? So therefore, he wants to do, what does it mean, the first of the nation Amalek? You have the spheres that are rooted in the klippas that are rooted in the Umazah, and then you have Amalek, which is higher than the Midas. Then you have Inyan Ksuva Ponim Va'ocher, says Megilah offer that it's written inside. Now, so it explains what the idea of ponim is. So we said that the ponim, the pnimius, means al derech chochmos odom toir ponim. Like we say, the face of the person, the wisdom shines up his face. That's the idea of pnimius. What does it mean? Then he discusses, what does it mean, kimare odom? Eich shaykh kimare odom? What does it mean, like an image of an Odom when there is no face? Al derech nasa Odom b'tzalmeinu. This is similar. I don't think he used this actually in the minor here, but this is similar to what we say, nasa Odom b'tzalmeinu, let us make man in our image, which means that an Odom is in the image above, that there is a level of Odom above. So what is that level of Odom? So the Hainu B'chinas Yisrael Ola b'machshava. The level Yidn are Ola b'machshava. That's before the creation of the world. That's the level of Odom. B'cheinat Torah nikra Odom. And also Torah is called Odom. He doesn't elaborate what he says here now, that Ka mitzvos Ramach mitzvos asay nikru Ramach Eivorim. The 248 positive mitzvahs are like the 248 limbs. And B'shasa lo yisaseh Ishasagidim is 365 veins. So it's like has the Torah is like an Odom, also shaped has like an Odom. Chochmas Odom, Shehi HaTorah. So the Chochma of the Odom, of the source, the word Machshavas Yisrael, and Torah, Toir Ponov, that makes his Ponim shine. Machmas ki ba'chochma meir eineg ha'elyon, because in chochma there lights the supreme delight. And here he has also didn't say it inside in here. So inyan that the Chokhmah gives life to its masters, and the level of this Oras Ponim, that extends that Hashem gives the face upon Melecha. As we say, Ba'or Panecha, he didn't quote this verse either. Before Nasata Lona Hashem Elokeinu Teres Chaim. V'zeu b'shashui in Bnei Odom. That it comes down, the level that there was shashuim before Hashem comes to the level in Bnei Odom. Amshocha zu is mebchinas Ohr Panecha, comes from the level of Ohr Panecha, liyish nimshach b'Torah shalafonenu. That comes out in the Torah before us. And Yuvan Zal Derech, this is understood, similar to the way we say by Daber, Shloshas Alofi Moshel, and V'zeu, this is also Inyan Halichas Olam Loi. It also means it comes down from the level of Halichas. V'zeu Pirush Asher Kiddushonu B'mitzvosov. Asher, they'll get the level of Tainuk through the mitzvahs. And Lochein, you have to be happy, because this is more delight even than the level of koil in Gan Eden. This is the level of Eden about which we say, so nobody's even seen that, as opposed to the level, the way it comes down, the Hamshachah, it comes down in Gan Eden. And that's why we say, Yofeh Shoachas Chulu.